Load Facebook. There we go. Let it connect for a second.
Yes.
And then Haley's. And
all right, everybody. Meteorologist Kyle Dickens here. Thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Kyle Dickens here. We're live on Facebook right now, and we're about to go live here at 6:30. We're going to be wall-to-wall on KWQC and all of our channels. So we're starting things off here. Then Eric Maitland and myself will be live again on KWQC. So at 6:30 on, we're going to have storm coverage. We have a tornado warning now in effect here for Jackson County. The storm is not in Jackson County at this time, but I can tell you this is a very dangerous storm. So if you do live in Jackson County, and I want to mention Maquoketa, heads up, this is going to head to you. You're not technically in that warning yet, but look at this. When we talk about those circulations that this is about as textbook as it gets. Right there northeast of the Scotch Grove area, heading towards northwestern Jackson County, we are watching that area for that circulation. Pretty significant circulation. This is moving into Jackson County. This is one of many areas that we are watching. I'm going to widen things out. And if we go to full screen on the radar, I'm going to start tracking around here, and we can show you. So let's take a look at radar. Again, this is the velocity that I'm showing you here, and that velocity shows you kind of where that wind is the strongest. So we'll take a look. Let's see, no on this. So give me 1 second, folks. I apologize. Okay. All right, so we're going to go. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Joe Davies and Dubuque counties here. So let's see here. We're going to get all this information. Lots of information, lots of data coming in here too. We got storms firing up here in the metro, and so Bix at 6 is going on. We might have to let them know that they need to let people get people into shelter. But again, we are watching here to the northwest of the viewing area. That's where we've got that tornado warning. And again, that is going to be in the Anamosa area, just to the southeast of Anamosa right now. And so I'll zoom into that because that's the area I'm most concerned with. Again, we're watching for the potential of some circulation going on here. So if you're just joining the stream here, that is what we're concerned with. Again, we're going to zoom in. But we also have storms out to the west here towards the Muscatine area down towards Mount Pleasant. Right now, the most significant cell and the most significant portion of this line has been up here to the northwest into the northern portions of the viewing area. You can see that is that tornado warning there. This is the area affected Jackson-Jones County. This warning is in effect here until 7 o'clock this evening. Again, we are watching this very dangerous storm and very strong rotation. Actually, very strong rotation, I would say here. And you could see that right there just to the north of the Onslow area. Flash flooding is also a risk. I'd like to notate that too here, folks. So we're seeing very heavy rainfall within these. So on top of this, again, the potential is there for tornadic activity. We've got a tornado warning that continues here until 7 p.m. for Jackson-Jones County. You see that area there to the northwest of the Baldwin area, south of Cascade. That is the area we are seeing that rotation with, and that is what has prompted that warning. To the north, now, Dubuque County, technically out of our viewing area, but you can see we do have two areas we're watching. New severe thunderstorm warning issue for Dubuque proper, and just to the south of Dubuque, or on the south side here, towards 151 here, we've got circulation there developing too. Now, we do continue with a tornado warning here for portions of Dubuque County. This includes the Epworth area and points to the southwest of Dubuque. These storms are moving southeasterly at this time. I want to take a look at the metro because we've got storms forming here too. I'm not noticing any rotation at this time for the metro storms, but we are noticing some strong storms nonetheless. These have to be watched. You can see right there we got a rotation marker getting picked up there northeast of Tipton. Weak with rotation at this point. I'm not really noticing anything too crazy that has got me concerned, but if you're in the metro, get ready. We have storms moving in. These are not warned at this time, but they are very serious because we've got lightning with them, and of course, once again, very heavy rainfall. Dropping to the southwest here. These storms have weakened a little bit, but they're still strong and could pack a punch here all the way down towards the towards the Mount Pleasant area, that is. Wayland also in line for these strong storms. Lots of lightning with these. we'll have to see how this develops. But right now, I'm most concerned about this storm here to the northwest of Maquoketa here. Again, northwestern portions of Jackson County is under that tornado warning until 7 p.m. So here is what we're going to do, folks. So we're going to stay with the live radar. At 6:30, once we get out of the newscast, we're kind of setting up here, and this will bring the storm a little bit further into the viewing area. What we're going to do is we're going to be wall to wall. We'll be wall to wall here on Facebook and YouTube, also our apps, and of course on air on KWQC.com with that severe weather coverage. So we'll have continuous severe weather coverage to take you through these warnings. And again, we could see a pretty bumpy evening here tonight. Something that was kind of a question because what looked like earlier was kind of a lacking amount of ingredients, but then of course it just took one spark and boom, here we are with this dangerous setup where we do have some circulating storms. So we're going to just show radar here for a minute, but I promise you folks here in just a few minutes, we will be back up with full severe weather coverage with myself and, of course, Chief Meteorologist Eric Malin. So stay with us. We'll continue to keep you updated. If a new warning is issued in the meantime, I'll jump in and let you know.
is the KWQC TV6 First Alert Severe Weather Update.
All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, let's keep it right there. All right, Eric Maitland along with Kyle Dickens in the First Alert Forecast Center. We do want to interrupt programming here. We're sorry about that, but we've got some very active weather. Potentially dangerous weather across parts of the QC. We look at Jackson County. Tornado warning for extreme western Jackson County until 7 p.m. We're watching this circulation here, which is just about ready to cross the county line. Also with interest, the storms going through the metro, pushing out some strong winds. You can see that little bow right there over the Wapsipinicon River. I just checked there. We're getting winds between about 45 and 50 miles per hour. And there you see another little couplet there, that coupling of green and red. So there could be some circulation. This is right over Highway 30, probably close to Calamus here, between DeWitt and Wheatland, and of course southern portions of Clinton County. So what we've got going on, numerous storms that have popped up in the last few hours, and we just want to make sure that we're tracking everything that's developed in the last few hours for you now. And again, the most important warning that we have is that tornado warning. There you see, goes till 7 o'clock for portions of western Jackson County. This storm, though, it is holding its strength, so there's a good chance that this warning will be replaced by a new one, which should encompass more of Jackson County. Also north of that, you see this little severe thunderstorm warning here. That actually does go into northwestern Joe Davis County. That's kind of blocked out by our Galena nomenclature there. And through the metro, unfortunately, we've got a lot of Bixit 6 runners out there. Thankfully, a lot of the lightning with that line of storms crossing the metro is staying north of Interstate 80, but I'm sure if they're taking shelter right now from the rain, they're going to be okay. Southeast Iowa, that was the initial line of storms that formed a little bit farther west along and south of Interstate 80 a couple of hours ago, and that one became a big deal pretty quickly. But now you can see it's starting to weaken a little bit in terms of the overall reflectivity with the rain. Still some lightning there and still some pockets of heavy rain. And at one point, back to the west of Washington towards Sigourney, we had areas picking up with that line of storms in excess of 2 inches of rain. And that again is the main threat with any of these. And there you see over Fairfield at the tail end of that storm. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some rotation in that, but north of Fairfield, out of our viewing area, just west of Henry County, it looks like there might be a little that hail core quickly emerging. So even that storm is starting to re-strengthen as we look at that little area there with the red and green right next to each other again. So that's a possible rotation in that storm. Once again, moving north of the metro, you can see that little area of wind there right on the Wapsie Valley. That's probably wind speeds in excess of 40, maybe up to 50 miles per hour. And again, the scattered showers that we have right over Highway 61 now, some torrential rainfall probably making driving very difficult. But want to get back to that Jackson County storm. Again, if we go to rotation, we're going to see that the rotation right there, that little notch, there you see it in the green next to the red, that is moving toward the county line here, which is that straight line right there. And so if you're in western Jackson County, you need to be taking shelter. I would say anybody west of Highway 61 here from Maquoketa up to Otter Creek, be in your shelter now, or at least prepare to get there at a moment's notice, because again, this circulation is hanging on with some pretty good strength there, and it's moving to the east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. There's a time on it. Ozark 641, Emmeline 649, Iron Hills 651, or 7 I should say, and a few minutes after 7 o'clock around Hurstville, Maquoketa at about a quarter after 7 if it takes that little dip to the south. Right now the movement has been pretty straight to the east, but again, these storms are coming from generally northwest to southeast. So within them, even though we have a little bit more eastward movement here, that could start translating a little bit farther south with the life of that storm. And there you can see, boy, we are getting very close to the Jackson County line with that warning. That goes till 7, by the way, and it does include Jones County, where the storm is over right now, but that's not technically in our viewing area, so we're concerned about you folks in western Jackson County. Not looking like we're picking up anything in terms of debris there, but that's a little far away from the radar site. Nonetheless, we're certainly picking up the circulation, Kyle, on our wind velocity product.
Yeah, that's correct. And we are watching this as it's, we've been watching this for quite some time here, actually. It was out towards the Monticello area. And I want to make sure that we note this too. Look at out here again, we have redevelopment happening. And look at this near 151. This is outside the viewing area, but what this shows is we've got potentially some of the same areas that get hit with the first round of severe storms, possibly some rotation, might get hit again. So we've got two notable circulations here. Here's 136. This is the Jackson County, Jones County line. That's getting ready to move in. Prominent circulation there. That's what's prompted that warning. But out here to the west, 151 rather, south, just on the southwest side of Monticello, that is where we have additional rotation being picked up as well. We continue also with a severe thunderstorm warning here, just barely getting into the viewing area. But Dubuque, we do have viewers in Dubuque, and we want to let you know that we are watching this storm very closely. Galena, you are going to be seeing this threat as well. There's some broad circulation, but that is not really defined. You see this, the lighter the color, when we talk about the, a less saturated color here, that's wind, but it's not strong. When we look at strong winds and potentially circulations, it really is that. When you see those brighter colors really matching up to each other, they just trim back that tornado warning. Continuing with it, though, here till 7 p.m., and I would bet here before long we're going to see an additional tornado warning for that storm just to the south of the Monticello area. So we're watching that. Back down here into the metro, I do want to make sure that we notate this, too. There's no warning, but here right along, I believe this is Highway 30 here, just west of DeWitt, there is some broad circulation, something that needs to be watched. Nonetheless, if you're in the DeWitt area, eastern parts of Clinton County, heads up, because besides that potential for maybe some circulation and a severe storm, very heavy rainfall, as Eric mentioned, and a potential for flash flooding. I want to notate, too, that this area here is an area that just a couple days ago saw some very heavy rain and a flash flood warning was issued. So very saturated ground in that area.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Two things, though, Kyle. Let's go into the metro with the reflectivity. I want to talk about the rain that we're getting here, and we'll get past that, a little hail core. But there you see the heaviest rain that had unfortunately went right along the Bix at 6th route. Now, if we can jump back up to Dubuque County, I want to point out something that is very important on the reflectivity here. This is showing where it's raining and the intensity of the rain with the deeper reds. But you know, if you're in Dubuque, this area right here where we have the bluffs that begin, boy, just a few years ago, and this happens every time it seems that we get hammered with some heavy rain right around Dubuque, especially if it's moving east. All that runoff is going to come off the bluff, and there isn't a lot of room between the base of the bluff and the river there, so those areas are very tendent to flood. There's a high tendency of flooding in those streets there, those little neighborhoods. I think there's a German food restaurant in one of those areas. I can't remember the name of it, but again, in those little flats of streets and neighborhoods and homes that are kind of condensed between the bottom of the bluff and the Mississippi River, those areas with a lot of drainage creeks tend to fill up very quickly. So again, if you know somebody up that way, give them a call, let them know if they are in there. They might have to drive out of the area for a brief amount of time to let all this drainage flow through. But again, off the bluff and in toward the river, anyone in between that is susceptible to some flash flooding. So keep that in mind. And there you can see we've put on the 1 hour rainfall, and these rainfall rates here are already between 1 and 2 inches, and any of these storms are doing that. And where you see the yellows there, that could potentially, be anywhere between about 2 and 2.5 inches of rain from those thunderstorms that are moving through that area right now. Now we go back to our warnings, and that area is under severe thunderstorm warning, including extreme northwest portions of Joe Davis County. Here is our tornado warning, and again, now it looks like that notch just is right there over the county line. There's the green, there's the red. The red kind of washing out right now. It's not as brilliant as it was. But again, we're still looking at that potential circulation. I've been looking for reports if we have any eyes on it. Again, really tough because we've got such torrential rain around it. But nonetheless, there is our tornado signature. It's right about to get into Jackson County right now. And at this point, you have to assume that based on what we're seeing in the clouds, we have at least a funnel cloud, if not a full-fledged tornado. So if you're in Ozark, South Garryowen, M-Line, and right around Bernard Road there back to the west, really anyone west west of Highway 61 in Jackson County, you need to be taking shelter, if you haven't already, right now in Ozark, because that thing is right over. Let's give it a little bit of a delay because of the radar scan. But yeah, based on our notch right there, which is where we see these tornadoes, that is right on Ozark, approaching in the next minute, if less, might already be there. So again, this is the extent of our actual tornado warning here. This is the county line. Let me reorient here. That's the county line. This is the eastern extent of our tornado warning box, which goes till 7 o'clock. You can see we're at 6:40, so we've got a long way to go. But again, this storm is maintaining strength. Haven't seen anything yet from the Weather Service. I'm trying to keep tabs on it. If they are thinking about extending this warning, certainly this storm is not quite done yet, so that is definitely a possibility. If you are along Highway 61, Andrew now coming in. Folks, I've got some good friends in Andrew. Please be ready to take shelter. Anyone especially along and west of 61, but if you're in any portion of central Jackson County, you really need to be thinking about where are the kids, where are the pets, where can I get to quickly at a moment's notice, because that shelter might come in handy here within the 7 o'clock hour as this storm continues to move to the east. And there you see some of the times, really right on Ozark at this point. Emmeline, Iron Hills, Hurstville, and Andrew all in the path of this storm. By about a quarter after 7, we get this toward Andrew. We're looking at about a 30 to 35 mile per hour eastward movement here with this storm. And it might start ducking a little bit south, and you can kind of see that just based on the warning box itself. You start here in the back of it, and where these edges flare out, you kind of think that this is going to remain right in the center. So that movement is just a little bit south of due east. So again, that puts Andrew into play well into the future, but you can see that storm now bearing down on Jackson County.
Yeah, and that rotation is very impressive still. We are far away in reality here from where the radar is. Radar is at Mount Joy here in the northern part of Davenport. And so we're not getting at the base where that tornado would be, but even up above, we're seeing some strong rotation and a very notable hook here too. The one thing you'll notice here, though, I'm going to put this back into motion and I'll broaden it out. My concern here is something that we do tend to see here in the summertime with all the heat and humidity. It's not out of the question, but look what's happening here. We've got this complex to the south here moving through the metro, not technically to severe levels. It needs to be watched, not a ton of lightning with that, but it's kind of congealing with this cluster here. This could be a pretty nasty line of storms really getting ready to come together. The other thing that I'm concerned with too is this is riding. You'll notice that some of the other storms are moving easterly. This is now starting to take a little bit more of a southeasterly dive. There is a frontal boundary that these are following. That is why we're getting such a strong spin in this area. So very concerned about that. We've got that tornado warning that continues here until 7 o'clock here. So this is for western Jackson County. But as I noted earlier too, Eric, and I'll show this one more time, is we've got some other areas of circulation. The prominent one is the one that we are tracking. I would expect here a new tornado warning at some time here within the next probably 5-10 minutes or so. That will probably take it into Maquoketa. So if you're watching us in Maquoketa, you're not technically under a tornado warning yet. But based on what we're seeing here on radar, based on the trends, I think that will get extended. So this is your first alert that get ready. If you've got some things outside you want to bring in, I would do that here within the next 5 minutes, but start thinking about moving to shelter, even though, yeah, you're not under that warning yet. And as Eric mentioned here, kind of that Route 61 corridor. Here to the north, we also have an area of circulation here northwest of Otter Creek. So we're watching that too. Several pockets of circulation. Let's go to the metro too. We talked about Bix at 6. Hopefully those folks were able to get inside and get away from these storms. But we do have some strong storms that we are watching here. One cell moving through the metro. Up to the north, though, we are starting to see a little bit of a shear marker there that indicates maybe some rotation. But if you're in the DeWitt area heading towards Clinton, get ready, traveling down Highway 30 there. So we'll be watching that closely. You take one view here to the south. Strong cell west of Mount Pleasant, that is. Nothing severe at this time. The focus at this point does seem to be this major cluster of storms. Very strong area of development here to the northwest of the Maquoketa area. So that is what we are watching.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that as we were talking about the heavy rain and the flooding potential off to the north there, the Weather Service is currently working on a flash flood warning for Dubuque County into northwestern Illinois, also considering northern Jackson County as the torrential rainfall is continuing. And again, there's more of it to come. Again, it just comes on onto the top of the bluff, falls off the bluff, and there's a very narrow strip of land there in northern Dubuque or northeast Dubuque between the actual base of the bluffs and the Mississippi River, and that tends to flood pretty quickly. So that might be part of their consideration, as we're already looking at around 2 inches of rain falling in those areas. So that's all dropping right down the bluff, heading to the Mississippi, and on its way getting into those slim neighborhoods on the northeast side of town there. So again, you can see some of the rainfall amounts really starting to get pretty impressive, at least an inch or two, I should say, at least 2 inches in some of these spots within that broad yellow there that's measuring about 1.6 inches now. Give it a little bit more time and it won't take much to tip that over the 2-inch mark. There you saw 1.9 inches. So again, we're dealing with everything that we kind of thought of getting into this situation. First of all, the torrential rainfall and the flooding potential. Also, the isolated tornado potential. We still have this warning hanging on till 7. We'll see. That storm does continue with its strength. We've got that. We've got the lightning. We've got potential winds of about 40 to 50 miles per hour at least. And we've even had some very large hail. A lot of that, though, thankfully, out of our TV6 viewing area, just off to the west. But that's along a line of storms in southeast Iowa that was starting to show some signs of weakening. And that's a good thing. We always want that. If these storms are coming at us, we want them to drop their strength as they arrive right here at home. But again, we're still looking at that little notch in the radar right there. That's the last few miles of that tornado warning. And in terms of time, it's for about another 14 minutes till 7 o'clock. But not only that, but we're looking at torrential rainfall moving through Clinton County as well. There was a little bit of circulation and some strong winds there around DeWitt, probably moving through DeWitt already. Your breezes have at least picked up. And then off to the south, some weakening storms towards southeast Iowa, but that will bring some rain into portions of west central Illinois as well. So what we're waiting for now, the latest would be that next flood watch, or a flood warning, I should say, to come out. And we're still waiting for the specific details of that. But at this point, I have to say that we are noting that portions of Dubuque County and even into Joe Daviess County looking at some very heavy rainfall, and that is prompting the flood warning that will be issued shortly. There we see our circulation now in the eastern end of our tornado warning, getting into western Jackson County now, well, probably over Ozark at this point. A warning goes till 7. So again, if you're anywhere along or west of 61, this storm is still heading your way, and it's packing a punch. Not only the tornadic circulation here, but I would say take your shelter anywhere along and west of 61, and even out toward Andrew, a little bit of east of 61 there too. So this is just your time to be safe. And at this point, haven't seen any discussion of extending this warning. Nonetheless, it's a storm that continues with some fairly decent strength. And now what we're showing here, what Kyle is showing here, again, we sometimes take that into account. This would be debris, and there you can see maybe we've got some debris that's highlighting in those brighter colors along with that circulation. And there you can kind of see there, right over Crabtown to Ozark, just along and west of Bernard Road, south of South Gary Owen at this point. And that just tips us off that there is certainly a circulation there that could be picking things up off the ground and bringing them into the sky, bringing them aloft. And there you can see right where that circulation would be, lining up with our debris detector. And again, that just goes to show the radar that there are things different than raindrops in that area. And if that is a board or a street sign or part of a tree, that's what we are noting here on radar. So that gives me a little bit of concern, which means if you are in the vicinity of this circulation and east of it, where it is tracking, you really need to be taking shelter or considering it if you're along or west of 61 in the next few minutes.
Yeah, I want to drop back down here into Clinton County. You're not currently under a warning, but what I'm noticing is, look at this, we are very closely approaching what will be considered severe thunderstorm criteria. So if you're out towards Charlotte, the Route 61 corridor, right now out of the metro heading north on 61, heads up, because this is a nasty line of storms moving through. But you can see we've got this little pool of damaging winds here along 61 heading towards Charlotte, also Andover, down towards Clinton. It will be impact the Clinton area here. So that is something we were watching as well. Again, no warning for that at this time. We continue with that tornado warning to the north here. At this point, we do still see circulation. It does look like it's broadening out a little bit. Here's what might help us out tonight is as these storms continue to track off into our region, further into the area, we're getting closer to sundown here, sunset. And so technically we're going to see the ingredients, that temperature will start to drop a little bit, although we are still in the mid 80s to the south. So plenty of...
I just want to let you know, we do have a report of a tornado on the ground. Bernard.
Yeah, we were tracking that. Look at that.
Road at 86th Avenue east of Ozark Wildlife Area, portraying spotter.
Okay, so what that means, folks, is if you are, I can tell you that they're probably, as we speak, drawing up this warning. So you got the alert here first from us that we've got this tornado on the ground now. So we were watching that area of rotation. We saw that debris getting picked up there too. So I would say right now, Andrew area down to Maquoketa, I think if we see that new tornado warning issued, it's going to be probably as far south as Maquoketa, as far north as Otter Creek here, might take it over into the Highway 62 area there too, might cross that into eastern parts of Jackson County there. And we also want to mention too here is we do now have that flash flood warning up to the north. So again, if you're just joining us here, we do now have a confirmed tornado on the ground here just to the east of Ozark in northwestern parts of Jackson County.
Yeah, and this, interestingly, it comes at a time when the Weather Service, and there you can see our, wow, that's a very extensive flash flood warning. That came at a time, though, when the Weather Service was talking about this outflow and this system moving in from the south and kind of cutting off the circulation that is with this tornado. So I wouldn't be surprised if this warning got extended to the east, but right now they're also talking about the fact that this storm, that band of rain coming in from the south, might cut off the dynamics for that tornado. Right now, though, they're going to let this warning ride till, well, 8 minutes from now, 7 o'clock. And at this point, you can see that it's almost out. The circulation is almost out of that box, maybe outrunning it a little bit early. Also, you can see that we've got hail potential of 1 inch here, but really more it's that circulation and the heavy rain. The tornado itself, obviously, which we just had reported as of 6:50 at the Ozark Wildlife Area, and of course the heavy rain. But as this moves in from the south, yeah, we might get even accelerated rainfall amounts, but rainfall rates, but at the same time, it just might take some of the steam out of that tornado, which is a good thing. And I think that's why we're hanging out here, not seeing an extension of that tornado warning just yet. Not going to say that that won't happen, but looking at what we've got from the Weather Service, that might be what they've got in mind.
Yeah, and that very well could be. What I'm also noticing here, too, that would be a good thing is, as you mentioned, we got that shield of rain out ahead of this. That's that a very heavy rainfall. So flash flooding is absolutely going to be the biggest concern tonight. And these are the types of storms, folks, you've been seeing what's been going on across the country. You want to take this stuff very seriously because flash flood happens very quickly. But what we're watching here, we just had moments ago a report of a tornado. One thing I'm noticing here is with this cell, you saw when it was back here into parts of Jones County, it had a lot of lightning with it. Now it's not seeing as much lightning, which could mean that there is some weakening going on. Nonetheless, the one thing that we are watching is this is on a boundary. So that's a lot of convergence. That's an area where we get that spin going, and that's why we have that circulation holding on at this point. So we're going to continue to watch that. But I am noticing here a continued uptick in this storm here in Clinton County. I think at this point we're probably pretty close to a severe thunderstorm warning. So here's your alert for folks in Clinton up towards Savannah. Get ready. At least a possible severe thunderstorm here with damaging winds being the primary threat. Nonetheless, the big concern too will be that potential for some flash flooding.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that they were considering with the tornado itself. They call it precip loading, which is just a heavy rain that's just kind of ruining the circulation for that storm. But as you can see, where Kyle was pointing out, just north of DeWitt, where we've got that increase in lightning and also the heavy rain there too. And yes, that was the main concern going into these few days here. Today, Friday and early Saturday, when this rain, this complex of rain systems one after another should come to an end, but yeah, the flash flooding potential here. And I don't think we've really highlighted it here. If we could move up north and then we can get a lock, I guess that tornado warning is going to take priority until you drop that a little farther down on the screen there to see when that flash flood warning goes to. But again, with flash flood warnings, they issue these for almost 6 hours sometimes. But the thing is, with the rain coming to an end and the drainage taking place long before that, you might only have about 3 hours or so to worry about the flooding in the next few hours here, I should say. But there you go, till 1 a.m. So I would expect this probably, if we don't get any rain behind it this evening, could be allowed to expire or get canceled, I should say, more appropriately, by about 9, 10 o'clock, if not earlier than that. But as far as warnings are concerned, there you go. Severe thunderstorm warning, northwest Joe Daviess County, a good chunk of Dubuque County. Also the flash flood warning we have that extends into northern Jackson County, also Joe Daviess County, western Joe Daviess County, much of Dubuque County, and our tornado warning that holds on now for just another few minutes as we have that circulation working its way east, but encountering a lot of heavy rain, and maybe that's going to keep them from extending that. Heavy rain, widespread heavy rain extends all the way through Clinton County. So if you live near any streams that feed into the Wapsie, those will probably experience very quick rises. And we're going to go to Dubuque County as soon as we can here to give you an idea of what we're looking at. Rain, strong winds, and of course the potential for flooding. That there is Highway 61 at Maquoketa Drive in Dubuque. And yeah, certainly would not want to be out there right now. Real good likelihood of some hydroplaning. Almost can see the horizontal effect of the wind blowing across the road there. So that's some of the brunt of the heaviest rain right in the northern portion of the TV6 viewing area, but it does extend south through Jackson County and into Clinton County as well.
Yeah, the circulation, it's there here in Jackson County. Based off of what we're seeing now, we had that report just moments ago of a possible tornado. Looks like it was a confirmed tornado just to the east of the Ozark area. I know we got some viewers sending in photos. Appreciate that. And hey, if you do see something you want to pass along, don't hesitate to do so. You can send it to us, news@kwqc.com, or also message it to us on Facebook as well. We will certainly look at those. But what we're noticing here is we got some gusty winds moving through Maquoketa over towards Charlotte, Preston. We still have a very broad circulation, but I wouldn't be surprised if, based off of what we're seeing here now, I'll put this in motion so you can kind of see where we came from. Much stronger when it was up here to the northwest.
Yeah,
once it moved in to Jackson County, although it sounds like it did drop a tornado, it is on the downtrend. And what we've got going on is a good thing for you folks in Jackson County, maybe not so much for the folks into the Clinton County area. Is we've got this arc of activity here from Maquoketa down into Clinton that it's riding that border of severe thunderstorm. I think winds are getting close to 60 miles an hour, hail, heavy rainfall, and what this is going to do, it's going to kind of choke off this storm over here and kind of rob some of that energy. But we still have a boundary here, and as those storms track over that boundary and kind of follow that, there is still that potential for some circulation. So we're not totally out of the woods yet, but I do think that eventually here, pretty soon probably, we will be transitioning to a flash flood event here momentarily.
Yeah, and on that note, it's coming up on 7 o'clock. The tornado warning has just been canceled. So even though you see it here, the Weather Service has just canceled. In regards to those storms that Kyle was talking about, they are putting out a special weather statement for the strength of those storms. And those storms will, excuse me, I need some bifocals here, Whiteside, Carroll County, Joe Daviess County, Clinton County, Jackson County. A special weather statement for the strength of these storms. That will go till 7:45. And as far as the southeastern Iowa storms, we showed you that those were weakening. So let's back it out and just give a reflectivity rundown here. Just put the radar into motion for the whole viewing area, Kyle, and we'll let people go here at 7 o'clock. But there you can see as we move these, that tornado warning has just been canceled, but we still have that flash flood warning for northern Jackson, western Joe Daviess, and much of Dubuque County. Again, especially that northeast portion of Dubuque between the bluffs and the Mississippi, that tends to flood and drain out very quickly. So watch out there. If you have history of flooding, you might want to get away from those areas. So east central Iowa, these storms here will be moving across the river into portions of Whiteside and Carroll County, also finishing off their trek through eastern Jackson and Clinton County. South of the Metro Quad cities, we're pretty much dry now, but we can look around and see some ominous cloud tops. Southeastern Iowa, those storms, they are weakening. So we apologize for covering up Wheel of Fortune, but we have that tornado that did touch down in Jackson County. So with that, we'll get you back to NBC programming for the remainder of the evening, unless we get any more tornadoes, which will have us breaking into programming to track those storms for you right here. 7 o'clock, you're watching KWQC TV 6 in Davenport, Iowa.
If this job is what you want, great. What if you